watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K,
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to LaFleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs!
And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TV. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro on this Tuesday, September 2nd. Thank you for watching the Sick Podcast on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. Weeknights at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's September 2nd. Yesterday was September 1st, and somebody got a whole lot richer yesterday because the Montreal Canadiens paid him a signing bonus. And tonight's topic of conversation will be Carey Price's contract, which we're going to get to with Nicolas Cloutier of TVA Sport in just a minute, but not before I talk to you about La Bittt at Tibi. And I want to talk to you about them because they launched their new Ultra Lager, refreshing, thirst-quenching beer, perfect for the summer. Only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. Ultra light and ultra refreshing. I also want to talk to you about Playground, another one of our partners. If you're hungry for a deal, you eat well at Playground without breaking the bank. Mondays, you sink your teeth into a juicy 12-ounce ribeye steak with all the fixings for just $19. Tuesdays, you dive into an all-you-can-eat Asian experience for only $25. Wednesdays, savor a 6-ounce bacon-wrapped filet mignon with dessert for just $30. Thursday, lobster surf and turf, only $22. And Fridays at lunch, get any sandwich, burger, pizza, or main for just $7. It's delicious. It's outrageous. Visit playground.ca for details. Without further ado, Nick Cloutier of TVA Sport. What's going on, my man?
A lot of things, Tony. So many things.
You're right. Everyone's talking about the Carey Price contract. If you're talking Montreal Canadiens right now, you're talking about the Carey Price contract. We all recall it was a contract that was given by former Montreal Canadiens general manager Marc Bergevin back in the day. It was an 8-year deal at $10.5 million a year cap hit. It was an $84 million deal for Carey Price. And the Canadiens now, and Carey Price, by the way, hasn't played a game for the Montreal Canadiens since the Stanley Cup final back in 2021. So he hasn't played for the last 3 seasons. He's been on the LTIR, long-term injury reserve list. And this year is year 8 of that 8-year contract. As we know, and this happened with Shea Weber and it's happened with other players in the past, when players are on LTIR, there is an appetite for some teams to actually go out and make a deal to acquire that contract. Why? It's simple. Some teams probably are below the cap floor. They need to acquire that contract so that they obey league rules and they are at the cap floor or above. There are other instances, which we'll talk about as well, other motivations to actually go out and acquire a contract like that. But Nick, your thoughts on Carey Price's contract and whether or not you think they're going to be able to move it?
Well, it's funny that we're still talking about Carey Price's contract in September at first, because you know what? Usually these signing bonuses, they're given out July 1. So I remember when I was digging on this, it was last April, and I got the information that this last bonus would be given on September 1st. I was like, okay, we're gearing up some for an interesting offseason, because that doesn't give that much leeway for the Avs to make something happen, because they won't be able to make a trade before, because no owner is gonna just burn like $5.5 million just for the sake of it. If they think they're able to make a deal like deeper in the offseason. The other thing that was interesting also is how it's covered by insurance. And also how much it was structured and signing bonus at the time when it was signed by by Marc Bergevin. So now we're
we
here.
have some information here, Nick, if I can, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
We brought it up for those who are watching on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. So for those who are listening, I'm going to explain it. This courtesy of Puckpedia, and it shows that for this season, 2025-2026, the cap hit, of course, is $10.5 million. That's the AAV.
Yeah.
The base is $2 million because Carey Price's salary for this season will be $7.5 million.
Yeah.
But $5.5 million was a signing bonus that was paid out yesterday. So a team that actually trades for this contract will have at the 10.5 so that they could hit the cap floor or go above, but they actually only have to pay $2 million of salary out of it. So it is enticing, Nick.
For a team that wouldn't want to spend a dime, like you think about the Arizona Coyotes, like back in the days, this contract would be gold for them. The only thing, Tony, is that right now, no team is below the cap floor. So you don't have that leverage to begin with. So before the offseason, we thought the Sharks might be below the cap floor. So that might have been an interesting situation for Montreal Canadiens. But right now, the teams that are negotiating with Kent Hughes have more leverage than Kent Hughes itself, because a poor team that would have been below the cap floor, like you said, is something that could have been leveraged by Kent Hughes, because it's enticing. It's enticing because Carey Price takes up $10.5 million of your cap space, and you owe him like $2 million at most. So for an owner, that would have been a great deal. Well, it's not really materializing right now because of the circumstances we're alluding to. The thing is, and also, Tony, this is really, if we're only talking about leverage again, this is a very bad situation for the Canadiens in terms of negotiations, because the Canadiens are not in a position to maximize LTIR if they are to put Price on LTIR right now. So the LTIR, Tony, is one of the most complex things you'll see in all legal verbiage in any professional leagues. So now, talking to people around the league, I learned that actually when a guy gets hired as a GM or an AGM or whatever, they actually have to spend sometimes a few days, I think it's in Toronto or New York, just to be well-versed on the LTIR, because the LTIR, there are some chapters about it in the CBA, but the practical use of it, it's not all covered. So they actually have to send their guys there in Toronto or in New York, and they go through some kind of LTIR school. So that tells you how complex it is. So we'll try to keep it as simple as possible for you viewers. But if I can say it this way, is that the more tight you are against the cap when you're about to use LTIR, the more relief the NHL gives you, the bigger the relief pool it gives you when you use LTIR. So unfortunately, right now the Abs are like 5 million away from maximizing LTIR. So if they were to put Carey Price on LTIR right now, the relief they would get is nowhere close to 10.5 millions. It will be around probably 5 or 6 millions. I didn't make the exact calculations, but it's around that figure. So it's far from optimal, especially when you consider when you use the LTIR, the cap is not a data that is recalculated every day for you. So you cannot accrue cap space. You cannot accumulate cap space during the season. So even less flexibility. And the other thing is that you have all these youngsters on these entry-level deals. And when you buzz the cap using LTIR at the end of the season, and these performance bonuses kicking for these young players, and they add up to your end line, they add up to your cap space that is already being busted by the LTIR. Well, these bonuses carry as overages as a penalty for the next season. So the Canadiens are in a really bad spot because they really have to trade Carey Price. It's not a question if they need to do it or don't. They absolutely need to do it, and I don't know how they're going to pull it off at a price that is reasonable when every team in the league knows Kent Hughes wants and needs to trade that contract. And we're not even talking about setting up a second trade for a centerman. We're just talking about being in a reasonable situation to start the season with your finances in order, Tony.
There is a team that we keep on hearing about. They're the San Jose Sharks, and we're going to talk about them in about 30 seconds' time. Not before I talk to you about Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America. They are driven to be different. They are a top fleet employer in Canada. Just ask Forbes magazine. And I'm going to talk to you about Betway, because if you want to get in on the action and put $1 or $2, you can go all the way with Betway and get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. You scan the QR code on the screen, or you click on the link in the details section, create an account, redeem your welcome offer. The offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offer is not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older. And please play responsibly. I'm going to talk about the San Jose Sharks because they're a team that a lot of people are saying they could be a dance partner for the Montreal Canadiens, and they might go after Carey Price's contract. As we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, there is no team below the floor right now. They're all above. That's the bad news for the Canadiens, that they're all above the floor. So they don't have any urgency. Now, we'll talk about reasons why teams should go after Price's contract, even if they're above the floor, in just a minute. But before that, and I'll give Marco D'Amico of RG Media the credit because he's the one who did the work. He looked it up, and his research says that the San Jose Sharks will have 49 players out of 50 possible contracts under contract given out. And if Sam Dickinson makes the team, it actually goes to 50. So if the Canadiens make a move with the San Jose Sharks, there has to be contracts coming back. The Canadiens who have 43 out of 50 under contract. So good work there by Marco. I don't know if it's going to be San Jose. I don't know if it's going to be somebody. But I think what we have to think about right now is if every team is above the floor, what is the incentive? What's the motivation to go after Carey Price's contract? And
so,
Nicolas Cloutier, if I say to you, I'll just finish. If I say to you, Connor Bedard or Austin Matthews, are there things that come to mind for you? Because I have something that comes to mind for me. Think about it. Austin Matthews and Connor Bedard.
I don't know. I don't know where you're going with this, honestly.
Okay. The year that Austin Matthews was his draft year, and Toronto drafted Austin Matthews at 1, and Winnipeg drafted Patrick Laine at 2.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Go ahead. I got it. Yeah.
The of course, the draft year was much talked about, much publicized, much advertised. If I'm not mistaken, Toronto, the year leading up to the draft, traded Dion Phaneuf and Phil Kessel and other players. I could be wrong. That's what I think I have in my head, to actually weaken the team so that organically they could be worse. And of course, it doesn't mean that if you finish last, you're going to get the first pick, but you're obviously putting the percentages on your side. I want to bring up Connor Bedard. Look at these trades, Nicolas Cloutier, that the Chicago Blackhawks made the year and actually a couple of weeks leading up to the Connor Bedard draft, which was in 2023. On March 18, 2022, Colorado traded Brandon Hagel to Tampa. March of 2022, they traded Marc-Andre Fleury to Minnesota. July of 2022, they traded Kirby Dach to the Canadiens. July of 2022, they traded Alex DeBrincat to the Ottawa Senators. And you'll see, by the way, especially in those deals with Ottawa and Montreal, they acquired 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a third-round pick for DeBrincat and Dach. Now, there's others. As they got closer to 2023, actually in 2023, they traded away Jack Johnson to Colorado, and later they traded Patrick Kane to the New York Rangers. What happened? Toronto, obviously, Chicago did not finish at the, I'm not sure, did they finish at the bottom? But anyway, they won the lottery. They got the first pick. Who did they draft? Connor Bedard.
I see. Yeah. They're going to move a lot of
Why are we bringing
contracts.
this up? Why are we
They're
bringing this
going
up?
to move out a lot of contracts at a trade deadline. And so you're telling me they need security to stay above the cap floor is what you're telling me when they move out all those contracts.
What I'm telling you is that
Yeah.
this year's Connor Bedard is, and let's
Gavin
bring him
McKenna.
up, it's Gavin McKenna. Who
But
would
you know what? There's not. You know what? There's a point to be made that you don't only tank this season for McKenna. This is a strong crop. Verhoff looks amazing. You can talk about Ryan Lynn. There are all kinds of prospects that are enticing for teams that want to tank this year. And this is why you look at the teams that are not having a strong start to their season, they could sell much earlier than usual. Much earlier, like way before the trade deadline. So this is a situation that the Avs are going to monitor really closely because there can be a trade deadline before a trade deadline. And that's when the rails go off and these teams realize pretty quickly we're not a playoff team. So let's aim for this kid. He looks pretty good.
Yeah. The team that can actually make a splash here could be also, think about this, could be the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
Let's say Pittsburgh wake up tomorrow and they decide to trade Malkin and Letang, for example. You're getting rid of a couple of big contracts. I haven't mentioned the other guy yet because if you end up getting Gavin McKenna, I think he would be a pretty good mentor for him. But think about it. Let's just say Pittsburgh wakes up tomorrow, they decide to trade Malkin and Letang. That's that's a lot of money off the books. That's a lot of money off the books. And then all of a sudden, Pittsburgh is not going to have a very good season if they trade Malkin and Letang for a couple of draft picks and prospects, let's just say. They're a team that, they could shake things up. Maybe we should monitor that situation.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty clear to me that you've got to monitor the Pittsburgh, San Jose, and the Blackhawks that already did some kind of shenanigans of that nature with acquiring Shea Weber's contract at the last deadline. But you know what? I find the Sharks interesting. You mentioned Dickinson, right?
Yeah.
And the 50 contract limit.
Yeah.
The thing is, they haven't signed Misa yet.
You're right.
They haven't signed Misa yet. So I am told like these are two guys, two contracts that the Sharks would like to get rid of, maybe to get their house in order and sign these youngsters. So Artem Guriev and Yannon Larocque. So those are two guys that are assigned to contracts by the San Jose Sharks, and they're not part of the plans.
Mm-hmm.
They have played in the ECHL last year, and it's pretty clear that they're not going to have a future in San Jose. So let me put it this way. If I were to be Kent Hughes, and I'm not nearly as smart as this guy, but I'm just spitballing here, and I would want to lower the draft pick I have to send to the Sharks, I would try to leverage that contract situation. I would try to tell Sharks, give me these two guys you don't see any future with. I'll take them on because I have I'm at 43 contracts out of 50 in Montreal. Let me take them on. You don't want him, it's fine. I'll take them on. So you can sign Dickinson, maybe, maybe eventually when Dickinson's ELC kick in, you'll find. Maybe now you're able to sign Michael Misa without any problem. So send these my way. But you know what? That second round pick you're asking, it now just became maybe a third round pick or a third round or fourth round pick because I just helped you.
Or maybe no pick at all.
I don't know about that.
But I understand.
Let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. Like, no team is below the cap floor right now. Every GM in the league knows Kent Hughes needs to trade this contract because it's far less than ideal. And those new rules that were just announced today, no bueno for Montreal either. And every GM in the league knows this. So the leverage is not on Kent Hughes' side. And this guy's a magician. Don't get me wrong, but it does not look good right now. So that's why teams will be asking for a second rounder. But try to leverage the contract situation with San Jose and see if it works out.
And you're right. There are GM meetings today and tomorrow. And we found out that one of the things on the table, of course, was new rules regarding the next CBA, which will kick in 2026. If you want to talk about, for the benefit of those who are listening and watching, which one of those rules will not benefit the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, first, teams that do not use LTIR, they can accrue cap space during the season, right? But now there's going to be a salary cap in the playoffs. But in the playoffs, the cap space you cannot accrue. So the playoffs is the fixed cap hit every day. It doesn't change. So you can take on a guy at the trade deadline and have his contract on your roster for like a few weeks, but you still get to the playoffs, and it's the full cap hit that is counted towards the books. So it's like it's all fun and games if you want to accrue cap space during the regular season, but the rules changed in the playoffs, and you have to prepare for that. So at some point, accruing cap space, it's not as important as it was before. So making trades would be harder. Paper transactions, like before the start of every season, every team sends their 23-man roster, and they paper guys to Laval, and just to make it work, just to make the columns fit. Not as much allowed as it was now. So even a harder deal now. So a lot of these rules and the LTIR. So this does not affect the Canadiens, but the LTIR rules have changed. So now, if you know the guy might come back during the season or the playoffs, the relief you will get from the NHL is the average salary from last year. So LTIR is not as strong as it was, but if you have insurance, the guy is not going to come back for the playoff or the season. You get full relief as usual. So this doesn't concern the Canadiens and Carey Price, but the other teams that are going to use LTIR. If they know their guy might come back during the year, it's not as powerful as it was, because it's going to be the relief is going to be limited to their average salary from last year. So all kinds of rules that gives a little bit less flexibility to all these GMs when they try to make a trade. And let me tell you what, making a trade in the NHL was already as hard as it is. So no, it's not going to get easier.
All right. Okay. Let's take a look at. I want to ask you about Gavin McKenna.
Yeah.
Because we talked about the fact that teams, once again, make trades. They weaken their roster to try and put the chances on their side. And we talked about the Austin Matthews year, and we talked about the Connor Bedard year. Is there an appetite for other teams? And I know you talked about there's going to be other players as well. I think, is it safe to say that right now everyone's money would be on Gavin McKenna going first overall?
Oh, there's no debate. There's
the
no
fact
debate
that
right
he's
now.
a left winger, does that lower the?
Absolutely not. This guy's I've heard generational, like, this guy's a stud. He's not your typical first overall pick. Among first overall pick, he's a damn of a good one. Yeah, I don't think there's any debate this year, and I don't like saying that, because I mean things can shake out so quick, and sometimes you have these preliminary rankings and they don't hold up so well. But with Gavin McKenna, I mean, it's pretty clear cut in my mind, at least.
And so obviously we know the benefit for the Canadiens of trading the Carey Price contract. It will give some flexibility, like you just talked about. They don't have much right now, and that flexibility is something that they'd like to have as a tool to be able to use to, of course, at some point try and go out and improve their team. Yeah. And in an ideal situation, a number 2 centerman.
Yeah, exactly. So Kent Hughes wants to do this to get his house in order, but also because it gives him the flexibility to upgrade his roster. But if you're asking me, Tony, look, I heard these rumors. I've seen Jean-Charles tweet on the internet, and I do believe that Kent Hughes has a plan in mind, and I do believe he wants to get a centerman. But I don't know who's available. Which one is on the market right now? Tell me who. Give me names, because I honestly I don't know.
It's always the toughest position to go out and acquire, even though some centermen have moved in the past, because I think previous history has shown us the teams that win the Stanley Cup, they're very, very deep at center. Now, it doesn't mean that every team that is very deep at center will win the Stanley Cup, because one year the Toronto Maple Leafs had Austin Matthews, John Tavares, and Ryan O'Reilly, and they did not win it. But you take a look at what the Florida Panthers, for example, have had over the last couple of seasons that they have won the Cup. Barkov, Bennett, Lundell, and Nosek this year. And that's as deep as they come. Like, for example, Lundell, who's Florida's number 3, could easily be Montreal's number 2.
Yep. Yeah, you have it right there.
So if a team like Florida won the cup and was able to get everyone back under contract, they would have no interest in parting ways with the Lundell that it was a couple of years ago that they signed to a long-term deal. So could you imagine another team actually trading away their number 2? It's very hard. You have to identify a team that actually wants to rebuild and wants to get rid of big contracts or big-time players, or you have to identify a team that is willing to trade their number 3 centerman if that player could end up becoming your number 2.
Yeah, reclamation project.
Exactly.
Like you have to look for these new hook or dark trades, and they don't always pan out too. Like and sometimes just like they did with Dobson, like all the stars align and you're able to get that bona fide second line centerman. But I mean, rarely does it ever happen.
Pavel Zacha's name has come up in the last little while because the Boston Bruins have Elias Lindholm at center. They have Casey Middlestad at center, and they have Pavel Zacha. He's got a nice size. He's got a nice contract at 4.75 or whatever it is. He's got a nice age. There's all the reasons why you'd want to acquire a guy like that who could probably pick up anywhere between 45 and 55 points. Mm-hmm. But what are your thoughts on a team like Boston trading with a team like Montreal in their own division? We know they're arch rivals. Trades happen. I get it. But can you see Boston trading with Montreal?
If they don't at the start of the season, they won't. Of course. They're gonna look at the big picture, I think. In what is such a strong draft as well. If the right deal is there for them, I think they take it. And they're not trading Patrice Bergeron. They're trading Pavel Zacha. Like he's a good player. He's a good player, of course. But they're not trading a superstar either. Like
but
he's gonna help Montreal. Yes.
But with Zacha and Lindholm and McAvoy and Pasternak, for example, let's take a look at those 4 players. With 4 players like that on your team, are the Boston Bruins headed towards a rebuild? I don't think so.
No. Well, you know what? They're gonna dictate what it is, but I can see them looking at their lineup and thinking, you know what? It's kind of 50-50 right now. Let's see what we have. But I can't, just because they have just enough talent that they cannot make trades before the start of training camp. They're gonna wait and see what they have. But we've alluded to McKinnon. We've alluded to this stack draft here. It's not going to take long before these teams. I think some of these teams will give up much faster than usual. But maybe the Bruins go on a run and Zacha is not available. But this is why I'm skeptical in the possibility of use striking before the start of camp. Because some of these teams will want to wait and see and figure out actually what they really have. What kind of team do we have? And you don't get these answers before the start of training camp, unfortunately. So it's hard for an owner or a GM to give up on his team before the season even starts. The optics are pretty horrible, but you have more incentive to do it if the rails come off right at the start of the season. But yeah, Zacha's a great target because you know what, Tony, you have to really look at players that make sense. Okay, the Habs are not going to plug in just anyone just because they need to plug in someone in their lineup. If that's what the possibility is in front of them, I don't think they take it because they can just see what Kirby Dach can do this season. And also, Michael Hayes might join them at the end of the year after his season with Michigan. So, Hayes is not going to be a second line center right away.
No,
but he might be eventually.
Yeah, look, I think he will be for what it's worth. I mean, I'll look into my crystal ball. I think he'll be a second line center for the Canadiens, but I think before he is, I would say we're at least 3 years away. I mean, he's got his 1 year in Michigan.
Yeah.
Let's just say he's with Laval the year after. And then let's just say the year after he makes the Montreal Canadiens, he probably could be a second-line centerman at that point, if not the year after. So we're looking at 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, which is why Zacha fits perfectly because he becomes a UFA in 2027. By that point, maybe age is more mature. He's a more established player.
Yeah.
Maybe the timeline fits pretty well. And Zacha,
he'd be a great
he's a fairly young player too. So maybe you can evaluate also what.
Yeah, it looks like we may have lost Nick. We'll try and get him back in a second, but it'll give me an opportunity actually to talk to you about Viva Avanti and vivavanti.com. You know who they are? Well, they are promoters, and they're bringing a great show to Montreal, which is the Esteriori Brothers, and it's going to be at Place des Arts, and it's going to be in mid-September, and the show will start at 8 o'clock at night. So you can check out the vivavanti.com, and that's where you can buy your tickets for the Esteriori Brothers, who are coming to Montreal on the 18th of September. All right, okay, we got Nick Cloutier back. Nick, you were saying?
Sorry about
Don't worry
that.
about it. All good. You were saying that he would be a great stopgap.
Yeah, because, okay, let's say Michael H. comes to your team after the end of the season in Michigan.
Yeah.
He's a good player, but he ends up being a better fit as a winger. So you traded for Zacha. He becomes a UFA in 2027, but you acquire him at 26, so he's not that old when he's nearing the end of this contract. So at this point, you can reevaluate. Hey, you know what? Michael H is on our team now. Maybe he's not the second line center we thought he was. You always have to think of these possibilities. I'm not saying he's not going to be. He projects as a really good second line center. But what if he doesn't become one? What if he's better at wing? We've seen a lot of prospects that played center and played wing in the National Hockey League. So now you have another option. You might have the appetite to resign in Zacha. So I think this would be a great stopgap, but also it gives you just another option if you wanna reevaluate what you have at center.
You never have enough depth on a hockey team at any position. And by the way, the Montreal Canadiens have been fortunate that, and a little knock on wood, that Nick Suzuki has been such an Iron Man for the Canadiens. He's never missed a game. But could you imagine all of us if Nick Suzuki would miss a couple of games or miss a couple of weeks or miss a couple of months? Be very, very hard at that point for the Canadiens, given what they have at center, with all due respect to the centermen that they have. So you never have enough depth on a hockey team, and they especially need depth at the center ice position because, of course, we've been talking about Kirby Dach, who has had 2 ACL injuries and surgeries over the last couple of years. There's some doubt as to whether or not he's going to be able to start the season on time. Of course, we know that he's been rather injury prone over the course of his career. And if he does start it a little bit later, how much later, who's going to be able to fill in and who's going to be able to, let's just say, and I've had this discussion with other collaborators before. Let's just say Dach starts the season 3 weeks into the season for the Canadiens. In the first 3 weeks, who would you think would get the opportunity to fill in for him?
Oh, yeah.
You
don't have that many options,
do you? Based on the camp, or do you think they have a name already?
Well, which name would it be?
No, but I'm saying, for example, do you think they'll only decide at the end of camp? Let's just say Veleno is the best of all the other centermen at camp.
Yeah.
You think it will be Veleno, or do you think they already have in their minds, it's already made up saying, okay, you know what? If Dach starts 3 weeks late, Newhook is getting opening night at second line center.
Oh yeah. They've already drawn up a plan. Like as soon as it's known, like it's not 100% that Dach will be ready to go, they look at contingencies. I mean, this is a serious franchise that has serious aspirations this season, and they have all the budget in the world and all the manpower in the world to think about these scenarios. So I do think both Newhook and Veleno would end up playing center in this scenario. Yeah.
Nick Cloutier in ending. Once again, a lot of speculation around the Carey Price contract. He was paid a bonus of $5.5 million yesterday. His final year of his 8-year deal. He's going to be paid, the team that acquires him only has to pay $2 million in salary. And he'll, of course, he has that cap hit of $10.5 million. Do you think the Montreal Canadiens will be able to move Carey Price's contract before puck drop on opening night?
Yes, because they have to do it. And I believe if you need a GM to pull it off, you pick Kent Hughes. He's very creative, and he has to do it. So he doesn't have a choice. So I think he pulls it off.
And hopefully he was watching the podcast when earlier you said what he can do to entice the San Jose Sharks to make a move, even though that they're going to be up against the contracts. Nick Cloutier, thank you very much. By the way, I have to get you one of these posters because there's a poster going around town, and it's an Ale Tony poster. And
oh, wow,
there's going to be a big announcement on the Sick Podcast on the 10th of September at 10 a.m. So stay tuned for that announcement. If you're wondering what Ale Tony is all about, because you're seeing posters all over Montreal, you're actually seeing the banner fall from helicopters in the city, well, you'll find out officially on September 10th at 10 a.m. Nick Cloutier, thanks for doing this, my man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, bud. My pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you. Special thanks to all of our sponsors, of course. Once again, Betway, Tibi, Playground, and Energy Transportation Group. If you like the podcast tonight, leave us a 5-star review. It's our way of feeling the love for Niello and Sammy and Master Control. It's the Sick Podcast, weeknights at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaVie.tv, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.